will strive for excellence in all things. Perseverance. I will fulfill commitments and not give up or act on discouragement. Please join me for a moment of silence. Okay, boys and girls, well, let's get started today with some phonogram review and spelling review, just like usual. So take out your whiteboard and marker. Good morning, Josiah and Deekshita. Deekshita, would you turn your camera on so we can see you? Thank you. Okay, we're going to do some single letter phonograms beginning with the phonogram X. Please write X. Marcus, are you able to write with 3 fingers? We'll see. Probably a marker is easier than a pencil would be my guess. Hold it up as soon as you're done, boys and girls. Next phonogram, please write Z. Z. Very good. And last single letter phonogram, please write R. 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 Nice job. Okay, let's do A to letter A next, beginning with A to letter A that we do use at the end of English words. A to letter A that we do use at the end of English words. Hold it up when you're done. And then A to letter A that we would not use at the end of English words. Aryansh got a head start on that one. You are correct. Why wouldn't we use this at the end of English words? Elena?
Because English words do not end with an I or
Correct. Very good. Should look like this. Okay, 2 more. Please write AE that we do use at the end of English words. AE, like they or key. And finally, AE that we do not use at the end of English words. So AE that we do, and then AE that we do not use at the end of English words. Yes, Aryansh?
Isn't broccoli an English word and ends with an I?
Very good. There are some exceptions like broccoli and ski, but those are from foreign origin, and so there's just a few of those exceptions. But you are correct. Broccoli would be an exception.
And is
Yes,
you
Ty?
also an English word?
Yes, there's not the same rule for words that have that phonogram ow, o, oo, as much, but yeah, you is kind of an exception as well. Yes, Tig?
Are we only going to 9
I'll probably try to keep it somewhat short, but not 9:30. Maybe around 10 instead. Okay, boys and girls, that is all of our phonograms for today. Now let's go over some spelling words that will be on the mastery test on Friday. I'm not quite done going over all of your spelling quizzes. I'll try to have those graded by the end of today.
Because well,
Yes,
my mom and Maeve are in Disney without me, my dad, and Aylis, so our mama has to come here and watch us.
What?
well, that's so exciting for them. I'm sorry you've got to miss out on that.
Aw, that's so sad.
And it's not because I'm sick or anything. Mom just takes us to Disney, just her and us, just her and one other us kids once we turn like 4.
Okay, so it's just a special trip where you get special time with just your mom, which I'm sure is so much fun when it's you, but when it's not you, you're missing out.
I'm stuck here with the craziest kid in my family.
Okay, boys and girls, let's write first the word vegetable. We'll be bouncing around doing some just review of harder ones. Please write vegetable. Which we think to spell what? Harika?
Vegetable.
Yeah, veggie table. Write vegetable and hold it up. Veggie table is the way we think to spell it. Next, please write the word conceal. Conceal. Hold it up when you're done. Thank you so much, Dikshita and Alina. Still waiting for others to hold up conceal. Arshad, please make sure you're holding it up as soon as you're done writing. Great job, Josiah and Kruthi. Conceal. Next, let's write describe. Describe. Hold it up when you're done. Thanks so much, Dikshita, Aryansh, and Alina for always being right on top of it immediately when I say it, writing it. Describe. Emma, can you take a look at your last phonogram? Describe. Still waiting for a few others to hold up describe. Marcus, let's put it down for now. I'll let you share it maybe after our spelling class, what you've got in your hand, but let's finish our spelling review first. Describe. And very nice, Samhita. The word that goes with it is description. We changed from a B to a P. Description. Description. Okay, let's do one more spelling word. The last one we'll do is excel. Excel. Nice job, Arshab, Aryansh, Dikshita. Harika, you've been really on top of this. Great job. Sahanasri, you're so close. There is a silent letter. So same with you, Kruti. There is a silent letter, C. And the reason it's there is that when we don't have the extra C there, it basically would say a G sound. Excel is the way we would pronounce it without the C. And Alina, it looks like you flipped excel on its own needs just one L, but when we write excellent, that's when we double it. So very good. Excel and excellent. So that C, it keeps it from saying that X sound rather than X, like in exhaust or exempt. Okay, that's all for the review today. Let's go ahead and take out our things for a spelling lesson now. New spelling lesson. Boys and girls, I'm going to add a assignment to your Bright Thinker to-do list today to upload a picture of your orthography notebook pages. I want to make sure that you are filling those in along with Mrs. Campbell's videos. Did everybody fill in their orthography notebook with the videos from last week? You had 3 new lessons.
Well, when we were sorting our words, there was a little problem. The space where Miss Campbell's class put that, it was full for us, or it was like a different phonogram or something.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, so for sorting, it's okay if yours doesn't quite match what Miss Campbell did, but I'll add to the assignment or to-do list just to send in pictures of the lessons. So not the places where you sorted the words, but just the lessons in the back of your orthography notebook. Right? So boys and girls, if you did not do that, make sure you go back and watch the videos to make sure you got your words in the right spot. Okay?
Which videos?
All of the videos from last week with Mrs. Campbell, those had 3 new spelling lessons, and I'm going to add to the to-do list to upload a picture of where you wrote them in the back of your notebook, those 3 lessons. So there was a lesson from Tuesday, one from Wednesday, one from Thursday. So if you only did one of them, before you upload anything, I want you to go back and watch those videos, and you can fast forward to the right spot to make sure you have all 3 lessons written down.
Where on YouTube?
Yep, it is on YouTube, but you should also be able to go back. Let me show you on Bright Thinker.
On the to-do list, normally when you were gone, I only had one video.
Okay.
Only one day.
So, sweetheart, look right here at what your app look like. I want you to click on 3rd grade literacy. And in 3rd grade literacy, there's this section. Where is? Oh my goodness, boys and girls. I think I figured out why you weren't able to see it for some of you. I think that I hid it. Yep. Okay. I'm so sorry. This is why some of you weren't able to see it only on Parent Square. Okay. Now, if you go to Student App, this should solve the problem. I think I had done that in second quarter and forgot. And there is one called Pre-Recorded Spelling Lessons.
Oh.
And you can go to the right date and view the video. I'm so sorry about that, boys and girls. That's why some of you were only able to see it from Parent Square. Okay, so sorry, and it shouldn't be a problem anymore because this week we should have totally normal classes, but that will let you go back on Bright Thinker and not just ask your parents to see it on Parent Square. Okay, I think we got that sorted now. So you go to pre-recorded spelling lessons, and if you need to go back and view anything, that's the spot. Okay? Okay, so let's get started on our new lesson today, though, boys and girls. We've got a full 5-day week, so we'll just have things back to normal as much as possible today. Our first word for today is session. Would you say session? Session. For example, you could say, this is a live learning session or a literacy session. A session is like kind of a class or a part of something. It might be kind of a meeting as well. You could have like note-taking session part of class. It's like a specific part of another thing. Yes, Arianch?
I don't have a question.
Okay, would you lower your hand then? Thank you. Okay, boys and girls, put your fingers under your chin, please, to say the word session with me. Session, 2 syllables. And the first syllable, what are the sounds you hear? S, 2 sounds. We're going to put another s there to keep the vowel short. Okay, so close off that first syllable. Ses is the way it would look. In the second syllable, what sounds do you hear? Sh, n. 3 sounds, session. Now, instead of using the tall letter sh, we're going to use the phonogram sh, zh, because we already had an S there. So we're basically just doubling that S. So make sure you use the sh, zh phonogram. Okay? Session. Please pick up your pencil and write it. We're going to hold off on questions unless it's an emergency, boys and girls. I'm going to keep moving on forward with our spelling lesson. Could you give me a thumbs up if you're done writing session? Okay, session, 2 syllables. S, syllable break. Sh, session. Right, so different than our usual Sean suffix, and we use sh since there was already that S. Okay, let's mark it. Sahanasri, could you unmute yourself and tell me what markings you think we need in the word? Session. Sahanasri, if you can hear me, would you unmute yourself and tell me what markings we need in the word? Sahanasri, can you hear me? Can anybody hear me, boys and girls? Okay. Okay, Sahanasri, would you unmute yourself? Okay, we're having problem with her connection, it looks like. I don't know why she can't unmute, but Josiah, could you do it for us instead?
For the syllable break between the S and the S and the other S.
Yes, we've got a syllable break. You're correct. What else do we need to mark in the first syllable?
The double underline the S.
Excellent. Double underline that first S. What about in the second syllable?
Underline the sh.
Good. We call this one sh, because it sometimes makes a j sound. Anything else?
Put a thinking cap above the O.
Perfect. And that is all. Now this part of speech is a noun. You could say like the math session lasted 40 minutes. Session is the thing. Okay, the next word we'll have two words that go together, height and weight. Okay. Height tells you how tall something is, right? And weight tells you how much something weighs. Now, these words are connected in meaning and in spelling, but they don't sound quite the same. Height and weight. For both of these words, we're going to use the phonogram A for letter A, like in the number 8. But imagine if we said for height, like how tall you are, if we said the phonogram correctly, what would it sound like? Tig?
Hate.
Hate, exactly. So we have corrected the pronunciation of it. And I think another reason for correcting that pronunciation is so it sounds like high, because height somewhat has to do with how high something is, right? But just like weight, we're going to use that A for letter A phonogram. Samhita?
The wait one actually kind of sounds like, can you please wait here? It's a
Exactly
homonym.
like that. Yep, it is a homophone. Sounds exactly the same. So height and weight both use that A for letter A phonogram. The first one we'll write is height. I-t, but we're going to use the A for letter A phonogram. Pick up your pencil to write it, please. H-I-t, but make sure you have that A for letter A phonogram. Would you give me a thumbs up when you are finished, boys and girls? With just height. That's all we're doing right now, height. So one syllable word. Okay. Now the syllable break might be a little bit different for you than it is for me. I had to check the manual to see what they did for this. But here's the spelling. Huh? I t height. Actually, not syllable break, sorry, because there's not a syllable break in the word. But the way that we're going to mark it is to actually group these 3 letters which make the sound I together. And just double underline this E because it's silent. So rather than underlining the whole thing and putting a thinking cap over it, it's really this I, 3-letter I phonogram, like in the word high, like how high something is. But there's a silent E in front of it, okay? Height is a noun. You could say the height of the building was 30 feet. So height is used as a noun there. Now let's just stay on this camera angle to write wait. All you're going to do is change the very first syllable from h to w. Please write wait. The only part of it that changes is the very first syllable. Thumbs up when you're done with wait. Okay, so for wait, w-a-t, wait. And there's only one marking. Who can tell me what that is? Ariansh?
Underline A4 letter A.
Perfect. That's all we're going to do. A4 letter A. Now wait is also used as a noun. You could say the elephant's weight is 700 pounds. Weight. Used as a noun. Okay, we have just one more word today. This one might be new for you. The word is apparent. Would you say apparent? It's one word. It sort of sounds like I'm saying a, singular, a parent, right? But it's all one word, apparent. Would you say it again? Apparent means the same thing as obvious. Like, oh, it's very clear to see this. You could say, it's apparent that Leif Erikson was a kinder person than his dad, Eric the Red. Right? What else could you say is apparent? Seems like it's pretty clear to see. Or Tyke?
My mom is fun.
It's apparent that your mom is fun. It does seem like every time you talk about her, that's very apparent. Now, you might have heard this word more when it's used as an adverb, apparently, right? How many of you have heard apparently? Probably quite a bit more.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, okay. Emma, could you use it in a sentence?
Apparently,
It looks like Emma could help you out if you're not sure. I mean, Alina.
should I?
Emma, do you want her to give a sentence instead?
Apparently he was right.
Good. Yeah, apparently he was right.
Mhm.
It's clear to see. Alina, you can give another one.
Okay. Apparently, the supermarket ran out of eggs because of the blackout.
That's a good one. Yeah. Or early on, you could say, apparently, a lot of people like to get toilet paper when there seems to be a global pandemic. Remember when they were selling out of toilet paper everywhere?
Oh yeah, from the beginning, my dad was like, "There's no more toilet paper in Walmart."
Samhita?
You could just get baby wipes.
Apparently, we have to stay at home because of COVID.
Good. Very nice. If
Or
you
you
ask your
could just
parents
wear
about this
diapers.
later, there's a funny video that was quite popular a few years ago where there's this little boy who's maybe 4 years old or so, and he used the word apparently like 20 times in one little clip. It's just like a minute or two long, but it's really cute.
Babies are lucky.
He's got a funny little voice. So apparently comes from this word apparent. Sound it out with me. And we're going to think to spell it as apparent. So that first syllable gets muffled, but we should say apparent. Apparent. 3 syllables. Can you say it with me again? Apparent. 3 syllables. First syllable, a. And then we're going to add a p there to close it. App. Next syllable, p, a, 3 sounds. That R controlled vowel changes it slightly, but it's a, pair. And then the last syllable, n, t. Sound that out with me. N, t. 3 sounds. The last 2 syllables are spelled the same way as parent. Okay? So apparent. Pick up your pencil to write it, please. Arshab, it looks like your camera is turned off. Would you please turn it back on? Thank you. And please keep it on the whole time. Okay, thumbs up when you're ready to go over the correct spelling. Dikshita, you as well. Please keep your camera on the whole time. A, p, syllable break. P, a, syllable break. N, t, apparent. Okay, Kruthi, would you unmute yourself and tell us what markings we need on this word?
Okay. The first syllable is basic code.
Good.
So
The first syllable is a single letter phonogram, but we say apparent.
Oh, double underline the first P.
Good. So this is silent, and this ends up getting muffled. It's an unstressed syllable. So we'll put a thinking cap there.
The next syllable, underline the R.
Good. Apparent.
And the next syllable is basic code.
Excellent. Okay, this one is an adjective. It's an adverb if we add ly, apparently. And that is all of our spelling words for the week. I mean, for the day, not for the week. And boys and girls, I know that last week you all were doing cursive separately, since that's the way that Mrs. Campbell did it. This week, we are going to be going back to cursive altogether in our live sessions. I do prefer to do that, but Mrs. Campbell does hers a little differently. Today is just a review lesson, though, so we're going to review all of the new letters that you learned last week.
My dad printed out lined paper.
Excellent, Emma. You can take out lined paper at this time. And unfortunately, at home, I don't have any, so I'll just use the same paper I was doing for the spelling lesson. And I'll make it a dotted line paper. So we're just going to review the new letters that you learned. Okay, you should have learned the letters U, V, W, Y, E, also I, J, N, M, and P. Quite a few new letters. So let's go ahead and review each of those. We'll do each letter 2 times. And in case I know that there was that mistake where I didn't have things shown on Bright Thinker for those spelling lessons. But hopefully actually the cursive you were able to watch fine because I hadn't hidden those ones. But let's go ahead and I'll walk you through the steps to review what to do on those. So we'll be writing each letter twice. And whatever you've been using for your cursive, take it out now. I know for some of you that's probably your same binder, but like Arianch has his cursive packet there, and Emma said, you know, she's printed off some paper. I know Kruti's got a little workbook there. So whatever you've been doing your cursive on, take it out now. Oh, Josiah, nice. You've got some nice lined paper. Good. Okay, first let's review the U, the letter U. So we start down here, and instead of curving up and around, this one goes straight up to the middle dotted line, and then it comes back down, loops over to 6 on the clock, and then straight back up, and then comes back down again. That's the letter U. Let's do that 2 times. Okay, how are you guys feeling about the letter U? That one should be pretty straightforward, I think. Okay. Let's practice actually connecting it to the letter A as well, making the phonogram aw that we do not use at the end of English words, just to get used to connecting. That's a pretty easy one since it stays right underneath that middle dotted line and it connects to other letters exactly as you would think. Now V is going to be different because it ends up at that middle dotted line. Let's review that one. For the letter V, we start in the same way, then we're going to come down to a pretty straight pointy line here. And then V it back up and make a little short curved dip. So if I were to connect this to another letter, like A, that would be the start of like vase, for example. That's the way we would connect V to another letter like A. So that's similar to the letter O. You know how the O stayed up at that middle dotted line? The V is the same way. So I think that as far as making the V, you guys probably are doing a good job at that, but it can be a little bit tricky to think of connecting it to other letters. That's how we would connect it to a letter. Questions? Yes, I see. Alexander, you got a question?
I think we have all the words to spell base, like Ashley spell base.
I think that you haven't learned the S yet. That one's actually kind of a tricky one, so I don't want to jump ahead and do that yet.
Okay, yeah.
But good, yeah, we are close to it. We did do the E, just not the S.
Mm-hmm.
We could do nonsense words, but pretty soon we'll have all the letters learned and we'll be able to do any. Yes, Rishith?
Is the S the triangle one?
It kind of looks like a triangle, yes, but try not, I don't want you to jump ahead and do others until we've really walked through it all together. Because we could get into bad habits if you just take a look at the letter and try to copy it. Okay, the Wednesday letters that you should have learned are W, Y, and E. Let's try those. It's going to start very similar to this U. But we're going to do another loop. And then, just like the V, we make a little short curved dip at the middle dotted line, keeping it up. So if we connected it to a letter A, it would look like this. Yes, Kruthi?
How do you connect the W and the E?
W-E, that is kind of a tricky one. It would look like this.
Ah.
The E looks a little different when it connects to one of these high letters, because, you know, the E would usually be lower. So that's the way the E looks when it connects up high. Good question. And then if it's EW, in that order, it's pretty normal. Let's try OW together, like the owl, oh, cow in the snow phonogram. We keep that O up and then connect it to a W like that. That's not super neat handwriting. Let me try that again. That's better. Any questions about these so far? U, V, W, and then here's the E. We'll slow that down and do it again. Yes, Aryansh?
So, when O connects to U, does it? It does. U connects in a similar way, like W to O.
So you want O connect to U? For O connecting to U, like the ow, o, oo, phonogram, it would look like this. There's a little short curved dip, and then you drop down that U. Does that make sense? Good question. Anybody else? I know the connections are what can be especially tricky, so go ahead and ask if you're not sure. Deekshita?
How do we connect the W and the H?
Have we learned H? No, we have not. You know what, sweetheart? I'll wait until we do the letter H.
Okay.
Because I don't want to jump ahead.
Okay, Miss Garner.
Okay, so let's do this E again. For the E, we go up like that U, and then just a loop. It's a very pretty one and very simple. Nice job, Alina. It looks like you might be jumping ahead though, Alina. Please don't do letters yet if we haven't gone through the formation. Okay? Just to make sure that we've got good formatting, even though I bet you have great formatting since you have such beautiful penmanship, but I don't want you to maybe get into a bad habit that's hard to break. Okay, let's try the Y now. That's another new one that you learned. And we can even practice it with that E for the AE phonogram. So for Y, we start like that U, and then we come straight down, don't curve it, come straight down and make a little tail curving to the left, just like the G. Yes, Ariansh?
What about an M connected to an O?
M and O. Okay.
You can make U.
So we need I, J, N, M, and P. Okay, for the M and O, it would look like this. So there's the M, and then O looks like that.
And then what if we connect a letter after the O?
For example, W, like mowing the lawn. It would look like that. Okay, so there's M. And N just has one less hump, just like in print. You might have seen some versions of it where this is really loopy, but in our cursive, it should be a straight line and then down and trace it before your little humps. Oh, great job, Dikshita. You did the word you, the pronoun. Yes, you know all of the letters to write the word you. Oops, broke my lead. Marcus, make sure you're reviewing these with us. I know you probably learned how to form them, but with our review time, I want to make sure you're still writing them again. Okay, so there's M, there's N. Let's do P, I, and J. Those are the last ones to review. For the letter P, this one possibly looks different than other cursive that you've seen. We're going to go up like the U, that same starting motion, then down, slanting just slightly to the right, and then loop just a little bit to the left, then come up and make a little loop there, and then come out. And I believe there's this little curve as well. So this should not be quite as big of a loop as, let's say, a Y or a G. It's just a little loop. So if we were to write pew, just like a bench kind of to sit at, it would look like that. Or we could write pie. There's the I, there's an E. Or we could write like the mathematical pi with just PI. That one's, I know, a little bit trickier, so that one might require quite a bit of practice, that P.
Yeah, can you do the P again?
Yes. Yeah, I think that one is a little bit trickier. And then we'll review I and J. Those are the last ones to review. Okay, so that's the starting stroke. And then we drop it straight down and loop it a little bit to the left. Come up and start tracing it there, trace it, and then come around like a print P would. And then, so you're finishing the clock, going around from 3 to 6 to about 7. When you meet up there, then loop it back. But I'm okay if you have a hard time with that loop, if you just kind of come out like that. That's fine. Kruthi?
How do you connect the O to the P?
Okay, so let's write the word like open. O-P. That's how it would connect. O, and then go straight down to start that P. So you just basically don't have that first connecting stroke. That's all you don't have. Okay. Here is I already did that once. I think you guys probably have got that down really easily. There's no loop to the I. That's the difference between I and the E, plus the dot at the top obviously, but make sure it's just a straight line and there's no loop. And then for J, you drop it straight down and make a little loop slanting to the left. Okay, so you could write like Jew, like someone who's Jewish. That would be connecting, or jaw. We would be able to write the word jaw. Yes, Samhita?
We can also write the word jog.
Yeah, we could do jog. That's a good thought. So here's jaw. Here's jog. Lots of words that we're able to do now. Okay. Yes, Alexander?
When are we learning L?
Let's see. I'm gonna take a look at the lesson plan.
Because like when we learn L, I'm going to connect all the letters I learned that go after and spell my name.
Nice. So we're gonna learn it on Wednesday. Just 2 more days. Okay, boys and girls, that is all the cursive for today. Just wanted to review. Once again, moving forward, we're going to do our cursive time during this live time, just like I'd been doing. So I only did it the other way when I was needing to use Mrs. Campbell's videos. But we're going to go back to just having it like normal during this time. But you can certainly do extra practice later on if you want to, on your whiteboard or on with pencil and paper. Just do a little extra practice making some words. Alina, you're able to do all of the letters in your name. That's so great. And we have not learned capital letters yet, so you might just write your name with lowercase. Oh, Emma, you too. Great job, girls. Those look wonderful.
But we haven't learned the letter L.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's such a simple one that I think that's an easier one to teach yourself. But like I said, try not to do anything that we haven't learned yet so you don't get into bad habits. Okay,
It's kind of like
girl.
I showed the thing I made.
What, Marcus?
Oh, the thing I made.
Oh, yes, I would love to look at it. Actually, let's do it right now before we transition to well-ordered language. Can we see it?
It's a beach habitat. Here's the water. Here's the place where you rest, and here's a palm tree.
Oh, nice. It kind of looks like one of those outdoor showers as well, rather than a palm
Kinda.
tree. I think either one. That's really Marcus. Thanks so
Yeah.
much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Did you do it this weekend?
Yesterday.
That's
I did
nice.
it yesterday.
Okay, boys and girls. So you have been doing quite a bit of well-ordered language just on your own since we were doing object pronouns, and now we're just reviewing subject and object pronouns together. How are you all feeling about this? Thumbs up if you feel good, sideways if it's kind of in the middle, or thumbs down if you've been feeling confused about your pages. See mainly some thumbs up, but also a few sideways. Okay, I know it might have gotten confusing at times when there are two pronouns in a sentence. How do you all feel when there are two pronouns in a sentence, like this one on page 48, if you would turn there to page 48 right now? Can you all take out your well-ordered language workbooks and turn to page 48? We're just going to spend a moment going over this. Did we want her along anyway? We've got two different pronouns, we and her. Like usual, though, if we really read it and think about what's happening, I think that you'll be able to see who is doing something in the sentence versus the object who's receiving the action. Could somebody tell me what the subject is in this sentence? We're doing just C right now. Dikshita? And you should have this filled out. This was your pages from before, although I know that since those pages were not, the lessons were not available on Bright Thinker to you like I thought they were, it's possible that you didn't do that. Yes, Dikshita?
We.
Good. We is the subject. So we is the subject. It's what the sentence is about. Also, could we ever be an object? Is this a subject pronoun or is it an object pronoun, boys and girls?
Subject pronoun.
We is always a subject pronoun. That's right. So whenever you see this, you should automatically think it's going to be used as a subject. Now, what is the sentence telling us about we? What is the predicate in the sentence? Rishith? Did we want her along anyway? This sentence tells us that we Can you tell me a verb in the sentence? Helping verb and predicate verb. There's one of each.
Did is the helping verb and want is the predicate verb.
Perfect. And hopefully when you see that question mark at the end, it helps you see, oh, it's going to start with a helping verb. Now we did want, who or what did we want to come along? Did we want her along anyway? Who or what did we want to come along, Emma?
Her.
Excellent. So what is her in that sentence, Emma?
Object pronoun.
Excellent. It's an object pronoun, and so far, all of the object pronouns we label as DOs, right? It's a direct object in the sentence. Along and anyway are both adverbs. If you're getting confused by these, I would highly recommend making sure that you slow down and really think about what's happening in the sentence. And also sing your pronoun songs to help you remember what the pronouns are. Because just like the helping verbs, it can be something you just memorize. So as soon as you see her, that tells you it's a DO. So far at this point in what we're doing with well-ordered language. Okay, for the pages you'll do today, you've got a chart here where it says it in a little bit of a different way, talking about gender. With some of our pronouns, we have male versus female pronouns, and then others are what we call neuter here, which means it's not male or female. Okay, this is still in the same order as our usual chart, but we're going to go ahead and fill it in together since it's a different way than you've seen it before. Okay, now let's sing our subject pronoun song together. I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they. Who can give me the object pronouns now? Dikshita?
Me, you, him, her, it, us, you, them.
Good. So we're going to write those in the exact order of the song. But basically what these words on the left are saying is that I is singular, it's just one. And that can be for a male or female, right? Now you is second person, and that's also male or female. Now he is third person and male. That's making sense, right? And these are all still singular. What goes next? She, good. Next to female. These ones are only used for specific gender. And it makes sense for neuter because if you call something an it, it's not specifically male or female. It's different in other languages though, right? Like Emma, you speak a little bit of Spanish, right? And Alexander, you speak some as well. In Spanish, objects actually have genders.
See.
So in a lot of other languages, it's different. But in English, things like books and tables and cups, they don't have genders. They're just called neuter. Okay, and then we'll just finish it off with we, you, and they. Okay, so wanted to walk through that chart. It looks a little different than you've seen before. You'll finish that up with the object pronouns. And then you've got imagine Heidi in an art class holding a paintbrush. Write a sentence about it, being sure to include a subject pronoun and object pronoun and some sentences to analyze. And just like you did a little bit of last week, choose the correct pronoun that makes sense. If it's the subject of a sentence, make sure you're using a subject pronoun like they, not them. Okay? Now at this time, we're going to do just a little bit of roots. And unfortunately, I don't have any index cards. Well, actually, let me double check. Yeah, I'm afraid I'll have you actually write on your index cards, but I'll write on a whiteboard and in the chat for you. Guys, you learned all the pre-words last week. I'll add that to Bright Thinker as well in case you didn't get all those pre-words. Yes, Ariansh?
I know exactly what the next root is.
How do you know?
It's on Bright Thinker. It's add.
Oh, you are correct. There's already the roots for this week in Bright Thinker, so that if you don't get everything from class, you've got it there. Add, or in Latin, we would pronounce this as odd, like strange, odd. Odd means to, toward, near, or next to. And we'll just do one derivative today. And I know that Mrs. Campbell's videos are different, where she does all of them on Monday. If you want all of them, you can look in Bright Thinker, but we're going to space them out a little bit each day so that we've got time to discuss them. And we're going to do one part of speech, actually, that's a derivative of this. Can anybody guess it? Kruthi?
I don't know that, but is add a Latin word or Greek?
Latin, good question. So you can outline it with red. Samhita?
Adjective.
Excellent. Adjective. Marcus, are you writing these down? Okay, so adjective actually has a funny definition, different than what we were doing in our song. In our song, we would say an adjective is a part of speech used to describe or define the meaning of a noun or a pronoun. But in Latin, this ject part actually means throw. So an adjective is something that's thrown at a noun. Can you imagine throwing an adjective at a noun like, oh, it's orange? Throw that orange on something to describe it. Throw it. That's right, Tig. Arshav?
They use ject and eject.
Yes, wonderful. Ject and eject.
So,
Also mean
eject means kind of throwing, right?
exactly. And maybe you guys are too young to know this, but like in a DVD player even, there's an eject button, which means that something comes out, like it's thrown out of something. Or if you reject something, that means you're like throwing it away. Oh, I reject that. So it's a word thrown at a noun to modify it. And I'm going to write this in the chat as well. Okay, we're going to go pretty quickly through this now because these are also in Bright Thinker. So I've got it in the chat and in Bright Thinker. So if you don't get those, but those are the two cards you should have at this point. So we'll learn more odd words, and it'd be good to do more of the ject words, which we will next week. So can you picture something An adjective being thrown at that noun. That's pretty fun to think through. Like a cozy sweater. I'm just going to throw that coziness on the sweater to modify it. Okay, unfortunately, my camera's not working. I'm going to leave and come right back.
It's purple. It's orange.
That's right. Just throw that purpleness on.
It's purple. It's orange. It's blue. It's fun. It's weird. It's weird.
That probably is what it looks like for your younger brothers and sisters when they're coloring or something. Just throw some purple on there. Okay, we are going to start a new math unit today, boys and girls, on bar models for multiplication and division. So at this time, you can take out your math notebook. Yes, Deekshita?
We didn't get our words in the orthography notebook.
Thank you for saying that. You know, I want to get started on our math really quickly. So we'll write it in our lesson, but we're not going to do any sorting today. Thank you for mentioning that. Let's take out your notebook just to write them in the lesson page, and that's it today. So should be lesson 62. 62. So it should be the second box on page 53. If you're missing any, remember you can go back. The words today were session, height, weight, and apparent. Session, height, weight, apparent. Session, height, weight, and apparent. Could you give me a thumbs up once you're done with all 4 of those? Okay. Once you're done with those, you can take out your math notebook. And today is the first lesson. So it's just going to be a little overview and introduction. So it's okay if it's a little shorter. Session was the first word, Emma. Then word 2 was height, which remember we think of it as hate with that A 4-letter A phonogram. And weight. And then apparent. Karika?
I ran out of root cards, so I used paper for my root cards.
That's fine. You might tell your parents about that so that they could get some fairly soon. Paper will do for now, but by next week or so, it'd be good to have some more index cards.
Yeah, it's because my sister, she lost all of her root cards, so she had, so I let her borrow some of mine.
That was very nice of you.
Now I don't have any more left.
Okay.
Like this.
Yeah, just tell your parents so that they can get some more soon. Okay, sweetie, can you keep yourself on mute? And Alina, we're going to hold off on questions right now. Who's got their math notebook out? Excellent. Very good. So you guys took your test on Friday over division, and it looked like things went a lot smoother on that test. I know there were some issues at first, but I reassigned some people to take that test so that if the questions weren't showing up, hopefully they were when you pulled it up again. Thumbs up if that test worked pretty well for you, that division test on Friday. Okay. And Deekshita or anybody else who had issues with it, if the questions weren't showing up for you properly, email me so that I can reassign it to you if there were things that you got wrong because there was a problem with the format. Okay?
It says
I'll
I got it
reassign
wrong, even though I even checked.
Okay, just send me an email if any of you had problems with certain questions, okay? But we'll not talk about it right now, Deekshita, because I think for most people, it seemed to work well. It was just a few people who maybe logged into the test early that had that problem. So send me an email if you need it reassigned to try it again, okay? So boys and girls, today we're going to do some bar model practice and look over multiplication and division bar models. And I know we're going kind of quickly today. If you need to use the restroom, get up and get water, anything like that, you can leave and do that. But just try to be quick to come back so that you can still do your lesson. Go over the bar models with us.
I forgot, it wasn't my multiplication. It was.
We're going to head our paper. January 25th. This new chapter, chapter 9. And this is just an intro. So just write chapter 9. Okay, Marcus, do you have your notebook out to write the notes down? Okay, now we've done multiplication bar models, so let's do just one right here for review. Without actual word problems today, we're just going to look at the way we would show multiplication and division bar models. And it's going to look really similar, multiplication and division. Just like addition and subtraction ones could have the same bar model, but maybe just the question mark is in the different spot. That's basically what it's going to be with this multiplication and division. Marcus, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, it's the start of a brand new unit. All I need you to do is just fill in your notebook along with me, and we're just going to look at some examples. Okay? Sounds good. So here is a review example of a multiplication bar model. If we had 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of something, and each one is equal to 3, we don't write out each label because multiplication and division always deal with equal groups. Now, this as a multiplication problem is 4 times 3, right? 4 groups of 3. Which equals what? Ariansh?
12.
Perfect. And our total goes at the top. We'll first mark because that was the part that was unknown, but then put that it equals 12. Okay, so there's multiplication. We've got equal groups. We only have to label one of those groups. And our total goes on the top of what we're trying to solve for. Now, division bar models are going to look just like that, but with division, basically we know the total. We may not know what a group equals though, right? Here's an example, and we'll do also an example of one where maybe we don't know how many groups there are, but we do know what each one equals. Okay. Division bar model is going to look like this. Okay. Here's 3 groups. And we know that all 3 groups together are going to be 24. What is that as a division problem? Can anybody tell me? Sorry, I think I'm moving a little too fast, aren't I? Let me give you time to write this down, and then let's go through what is that division problem. Okay. Rishith, what is this as a division problem?
We have to figure out the 3 groups.
Good. We're trying to figure out what each of these groups equals. And we only have to figure out one because we know they're equal. So what is that as a division sentence? Here's a multiplication sentence for this. We want a division sentence for this model.
24 divided by 3.
Perfect. 24 divided by 3. This should be one that comes to you quickly if you've been doing your flashcards, or if you think of 3 times what number equals 24. There's a related multiplication problem to help you. Who can tell me what each group is going to equal. Alexander?
8.
Perfect. 8 is
Because
what?
8 times 2 equals 16, and then 8 times 3 equals 24.
Good. I love the way you describe that. Yeah, if you know 8 times 2 is 16, and 8 times 3 is 24.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now here is another type of division bar model that's a little bit trickier, but not if you have a good example to go off of, I think. Now, what if you know that you're dividing into groups of 8? Let's take the same problem. What if I know that there's 24? Okay, and making a word problem out of this. What if this was, 24 students grouped into 3 groups? But in this case, I didn't know how many groups. I just knew that there are 24 students and I want 8 to be in each group. Okay, that's all I would know. What I can do is have that 24 at the top. Sorry, I didn't really make that room for a bracket. So there's the 24. And I know that I want each group to have 8. We're going to put a question mark for how many groups there are. Our book has it done a little bit differently, and I think it makes it a little bit too complicated, where this has little dotted lines. I'm just going to put a question mark for how many groups there are, okay? We can still solve this with a normal division problem, though. What division problem can tell us how many groups there will be? Marcus? There's 24 students, and we know we want 8 to be in each group. And we're just trying to know how many groups there will be. What division problem can tell us that?
I think 8 divided by 3.
So 8 times 3,
Okay.
that multiplication problem will help us. And as a division problem, we'll say 24 divided by
3.
good. Or actually, sorry, in this case, imagine that we know each group is going to have 8. So it'll be 24 divided by 8. You see that?
Yes.
And as you already know the answer, it is 3. So if we had 24 students and we know each group has 8, we can solve for how many groups there are in this way. Okay, so those are the main 3 types. And we will get into some 2-step problems, get into things that are a little bit more complicated, but not until later. You will not be doing actually any workbook pages this week. I want you to just have these examples to go off of as the most basic multiplication and division problems. Do these 2 make sense, boys and girls? This is basically if we know how many groups there are. This is if we know how many is in each group, we just don't know the number of groups. Okay. Your homework for today is a little different. For your homework, you've got just some review of long division, and it's posted in Bright Thinker. If you've got access to a printer, you could print it off and fill those problems in, but if not, you can just do it on notebook paper. Okay? And tomorrow we'll do more from the actual workbook with your bar models. Alina, do you have a question?
Yes. So at my to-do list yesterday, I checked my to-do list. There was nothing, and then today I saw like math pages were due yesterday or something, and I didn't see any math pages due yesterday.
That was just a mistake, sweetheart. It should be fixed.
Okay. Thank you.
So once again, your math page for today is one that you could print off or write it down on notebook paper. I have attached the cursive assignments for the week, but we'll be doing that together. So I'm probably going to go through and delete those Bright Thinker assignments because we'll be doing it together. You've got well-ordered language pages as well. And for history, this is a little bit different. But I have just the document for your history study guide. We're finishing up our Vikings study. I hated to miss out on doing that more with you guys last week, but we're finishing it up with a review today. And I have it posted in Bright Thinker. If you would like to print it off and fill it in, you can do that. Or if you don't have a printer, just write your answers down from the review on notebook paper, like even in your history notebook. And then tomorrow we'll go over the answers. And then on Wednesday, you'll have a test. Okay, so it's not a virtual study guide. It's a document and you can print it out. I'd say if you can print it out, that would certainly be best. But if you cannot print it out, then just write it on notebook paper, whatever the answers are. Yes, Ariansh?
If you can you make that study guide a little bit smaller and such a big scroll?
I'm sorry, bud. It was already created, and I can't change the format of it. It is in that format to look as close as possible to the test so that you can be prepared for that. I know it's 4 pages. Are you saying that's kind of a lot to print off? Yeah, so if your parents don't want you to print off 4 pages, then you can just write your answers on notebook paper instead. Okay, and science and literature and history, hopefully I'll feel better by the next couple of days and start doing my own videos. But for right now, you'll be watching Mrs. Campbell's videos for today for each of those subjects. Okay, we are going to do reading groups today, and I'd love to have that every single day this week if possible. So I'll just have Emma, Harika, and Sahanasri stay, and I'll talk to everybody else tomorrow.
Bye.
Thank you guys for a great class.
Bye, Miss Gardner.
Bye. Yes, Alexander?